We're streaming. There we go. Streaming. Welcome on YouTube. We're going to go live on Facebook. All right. We're going to check everything. Getting ready to podcast here tonight, folks. We're live on YouTube and Facebook. I'm going to do what I need to do on Facebook. I have to share to the groups. I know tonight is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to watch that in a taped thing, but I'm going live right now for us here. Tonight we're going to be doing the Bardstown Bourbon Company. I got a lot of stuff on that tonight, folks, and I'm ready to go, rock and rolling. I've got up that. That's good. Got a lot of information. Got information on that, and let me we'll get going. I'm gonna save to the groups first. All right, we're live. 3 people. We're gonna hit that. We'll go live. No, okay. We're gonna turn that down for right now, but we will have to turn it up when we get going. No, okay, we're playing. Get out of that. Share. Thanks for watching tonight. Here we go. Just bear with me as I share to some of these groups. Bards. All right, I'm going to try this. Bardstown Bourbon Company. There we go. Let's get going. All right, just bear with me. I'm sure, like always, I'm always in a hurry, but tonight, just hang in there. I know other places, they basically have like little things that happen, but since we're live Facebook and we're live YouTube, I know I could have some sort of artwork up or something like that while I do this, but I prefer to just hang with you, tell you what I'm doing. I just gotta get. Oh, I skipped that one, so I can't get in any more trouble. Yep, we're doing pretty good tonight as far as saving. Just hang in there while I save. It's going to be a kind of a cool podcast. I did a little bit of research. Hopefully, that helps. That works out. I'm just saving to all the different groups, all the podcast groups that I belong to. I'm saving to all the whiskey groups, all the bourbon groups, because we're doing Bardstown tonight. Then we're going to announce something also that Super Nash came up with, and this should be pretty cool. What's going to happen? We're going to be having a contest coming up on Thursday. So you're going to want to do this. And it's based off of kind of what we're doing right here, right now. But it's going to have rules. So find out pretty soon. I'm just going to and I'll get into this in detail. I've got a lot of new groups. So let's see how that goes over. One of the, I could say a couple. We got the old group Cash Chasers and Great Lakes Bourbon. Love the guys at Great Lakes Bourbon. Whiskey Mavens. Right there. We keep going. Then all my Ohio groups, a shout out to those that watch us and pay attention. And then also we got Bourbon R, which is Sealbox, great place on the internet. If you're in a state that you can buy through the internet, it's a great place to buy bourbon. My Cincinnati friends, the Taters. I'm getting everybody. Can't wait to have some of this delicious Bardstown Bourbon Company finished bourbon that we got. I got a couple really good bottles, so let's see how this goes. So, yeah, we're getting there. We're getting down there. Lately, a lot of people, a lot of groups, and there's been a lot of views. So hang in there, everybody. We're almost there. A lot of fun. Just here we go. I'm just dumping them to all of them. I have no idea. North Carolina, Bourbon and Barbecue, Indiana, Hudson Valley, Lexington Bourbon, Whiskey Reviews, my favorite guys at the Wisconsin Bourbon Club, Central Ohio Bourbon Enthusiasts, hello, my class, National Bourbon League, we're almost there. We are almost there, folks. We are Kentucky Bourbon Festival. All right, we did all the sharing. Welcome to the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Tonight, I am Tiny. We're going to get ready in a couple minutes to do our podcast. Feel free. I'm monitoring the Facebook Jeffrey Mueller feed, so if you have any comments or anything you want to say, I will be monitoring that tonight. So everybody check that out. I'm taking a look at it right now. Okay, see more. Okay, let's see. Live chat overview. Live chat. There we go. So if anybody wants to chime in and ask questions as we go about this, we are also on YouTube. Same thing. I'm monitoring that. I see the chat. We're just starting out on YouTube. We get some people from time to time in there, so you can also comment on YouTube. But tonight we are going to be tasting two of the Bardstown Bourbon Company, their collaborative series. I just picked up the straight bourbon whiskey finished in plantation rum barrels. Now, this particular whiskey, the reason why I picked it up and I wanted to, was the 15th best whiskey according to Whiskey Advocate. It's one of their 15th whiskeys of the year, so we'll be talking about that. That's produced at the Bardstown. We're going to get a little bit of history of the Bardstown Bourbon Company and where they are today. And so then that one, and then we're also going to be tasting the Chateau de Laboide. That is the second version. And then I've also got the Discovery Series, and this was Series 3, and I've got the Fusion Series here, and this was Series 3 too. Now, I believe they're on, it could even be 8. So we're going to be tasting the two finished bourbons and talking about the Bardstown Bourbon Company. And but right now, we are going to get this going. The way that our podcast works, we will start when we start recording for the audio podcast that we put on Apple Podcasts and iHeart and Spotify and all the different podcast formats. We usually have a 30-second spot. I cover that right here for all you guys. The Spirit of French Lick winery and distillery in West Baden, Indiana, which is near the town of French Lick, or it is the town of French Lick. And Alan Bishop down there is one of the great, he's the, not one of, he is the master distiller down there. And he produces some of the most fantastic bourbons and whiskeys that you can, plus brandy, absinthe, and all the different flavors, all the different distillates that you can. But he pot stills. He's alchemist at its best, at its finest. He cares so much about the whole process. He oversees from the growing of the corn, the cultivating of the yeast, and then also the distilling and maturation. He has been doing this now I believe the Spirit of French Lick started in 2015. So he's been doing it for a while, producing some fantastic stuff. They keep doing releases, and all those releases have been nothing. Solomon Scott, William Dalton, Morning Glory. I mean, it's just one right after another. Old Clifty brand, Apple Brandy. They're just fantastic expressions and distillate and whiskeys and overall spirits. Definitely, if you're in the area, it's a really cool area. Check it out. Stop in and say hi to Alan. And old Dale Bishop, his father, also works with him. And the Dotties are part of the winery and the distillery. Stop and say hi. You get great service there. So anyways, and then also I'd also like to cover our other sponsor. That's the Log Still Distillery. Wally, Lynn, and Charlie Dant have brought back the family distilling tradition back to Gethsemane, Kentucky. And they have done a fantastic job. If you get a chance, go down to Log Still. They just opened their main distillery, but their tasting room, their amphitheater, their event center, all are open. Their bed and breakfasts, the lake has been restored, walking paths, and they are going to be coming in 2023, their restaurant, and just such big things are happening there at the Log Still Distillery. They are a great sponsor for us, and check out Monk's Road and Rattle and Snap, two delicious whiskeys. Monk's Road is their bourbon 5th District series, and along with their Rattle and Snap, which is their Tennessee whiskey. So check it out. Fantastic spirits, fantastic people, fantastic times. All right, so that gets through that, folks, and we are going to start this. The 30-second spot will be quiet for, and then you'll hear our Scotchy Bourbon Boy theme song by no other than Kenny Fuller of the Old Americana Band for Luca Mariano. Kenny did our theme song, and I want to thank him with all my heart for putting out it. The theme song is probably sometimes better than the podcast. All right, with that said, we're going to get this baby rolling.
It's sure fun to watch. We love what we do, we're drinking every brew. Man, we talk some shit, but we're telling the truth. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, raisins in hell, making some noise. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We're here to have fun and we hope you enjoy. We're here to have fun.
All right, everybody, welcome to the podcast of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. I'm Tiny, and I'm here tonight by myself. I'm subbing in. We got some big podcasts coming up in the future. We're going to have Super Nash, big events, and then also ton of guests coming up. So I wanted to put this podcast down on this Monday night. Glad everybody's joining us. Let me take a look at the Facebook. We got a bunch of people going, and we got Mr. Whiskey also watching. I'm going to monitor this as we go through. Anybody having any comments? I would greatly appreciate them, especially when I fuck up. So I'm Tiny. We're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. A lot of times you got whiskey on here, you got Super Nash, you can have Roxy. Lately we've had the Kid. Every once in a while Gin joins us. A lot of fun that we have here on the podcast, and then every once in a while it's just me, Tiny. I have no problem doing it, filling in when it needs to be done. This week's podcast, we're going to be doing the Bardstown Bourbon Company, and we've got some really awesome bourbon here, and we're going to go over the whole history of the distillery. And it's been a bunch of it's been what would you say, an easy ride, but the ride that it's been a smooth ride. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and there's a lot. I have a lot to say. I've met the team down there, but remember www.scotchybourbonboys.com for everything Scotchy Bourbon Boys. You could pick up a Scotchy Bourbon Boy t-shirt, all sizes. We also have the Scotchy Bourbon Boy Glencairns. Check that out. If you don't want to go to the website, contact me on Facebook and we can get something done. No problem. But also, when you're there, go in that top right hand corner and hit that Patreon button. Support us through Patreon. We appreciate it. We are also on all major podcast formats. Ask Alexa, ask Siri, she'll play us. We're on Spotify. Wherever you listen, we're there. And then also we're on all the major social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Check us out on all of them. We're pretty much hard and heavy on Facebook and YouTube, and right now we are YouTube Live along with Facebook Live, so that kind of tells you what's going on. And then remember, always like, listen, and leave a comment. Like, listen, comment, and subscribe. We very much appreciate everything that everybody does. All right, so that brings us up to the Scotchy Bourbon Boys and what we've done through the years at the Bardstown Bourbon Company. Now, initially in 2019, when I was planning my trip down to Kentucky Bourbon Festival, before we were actually podcasting, I didn't know what to make of the Bardstown Bourbon Company. I had looked it up on the website. It looked like a restaurant. Everything in Bardstown, when you're talking Jim Beam, you're talking Barton's, you're talking Heaven Hill. These are established, Maker's Mark, in Lorraine. These are established distilleries, old rick houses. You got the wood, you got the families, the generation. Then Bardstown Bourbon Company is done like a Napa Valley experience. It is very, very chic and corporate, but at the same time friendly because of where it is in Bardstown. So this unique kind of building and approach to the modern distillery was there. And when we were there, we went, stopped by, had lunch, myself and Roxy. We stopped by and checked out what they were doing. And I believe it was, I got the history here. It started in 2014 and started bourbon production founded in 2014 and started bourbon production in 2016. So in 2019, they were just introducing their own spirits. And their spirits, one of the things that the Bardstown Bourbon Company is, and where in 2019, believe it or not as many people were as transparent as they are in 2023. And the transparency was one of the things that the company was getting notoriety for. On every single bottle, you've got this right there. And you can't see that on the podcast, but it basically gives you the series. It tells you, no, I got to get my glasses here. I could see that if I read it on the camera, that when I showed it to the camera. But the Fusion Series, 45% Kentucky, 13 year. The mash bill, 74, 18 rye, 74 corn, and 8 barley. Then 18% Bardstown Bourbon Company, 3 year. So this was on the Fusion Series. And then 42% Bardstown Bourbon Company, 3 year. And the two different mash bills. One's a 68 with 20 wheat, 68 corn, and 12 barley. The other one's 48, 34 rye, and 6 barley. So they tell you exactly what's in these bottles. And they're very, very transparent to their blends. Now, the Fusion and the Discovery Series, and I wanted to check this out, okay? Let's do, we had that, I'm just looking through, I thought I had that up, but of course, we'll go here, and we'll do our products. So their products consist of the Origin Series, the Fusion Series, the Discovery Series, the Collaborative Series, and the Distillery Collection. So they've got that. Now, one of the cool things, and if you can, I hope this shows, but you could see on every back of every bottle, and it's a damn cool thing, they've got different artwork on the back of each bottle. So the artwork throughout the series, and you can see that, and each one has its own. Now what would you say, series has its own artwork on the back of each bottle. So that's really a kind of a cool thing that they've gone to. Their bottle is very, very upscale. It's square, and the label is simple, and the logo, their logo is very, very corporate like, but then you throw in that artwork, so you're really getting into some cool type stuff. So initially, when I was there, I wasn't sure what to make of it. I mean, you had the kind of, but you had a lot of the corporate cleanliness. It's very sterile. They basically, everything is kind of neat and in its place. And that's unlike a lot of distilleries. A lot of the distilleries have been operating since the 1800s, and they have in the 50s and the 60s, and when some of the distilleries were built and are still running, and they're in a lot of cases old. They're industrial, put it that way. There wasn't a lot of that going on here at the Bardstown Bourbon Company. So that was one of the cool things, that if you get a chance to go down there, have a meal, and get a chance to check out the Bardstown Bourbon Company. Now, the other thing is at their bar there, they have an amazing selection of all bourbons. Not just their bourbons, all bourbons. I mean, you could get birthday bourbon, reasonably priced too. You could get Weller 12. They have stuff that like a good Kentucky bar would have, at a restaurant. So that's really kind of a cool thing. And at first you're like, well, if you're selling your own, what? But it just makes sense. The bar is cool, huge, and modern. And then, so the other aspect is that what they've added has been the library. It is the brand library, the distillery. What is it? I'm having a lack of words, but the library that they have is, when you go in there, it's bourbons from all time periods and whiskeys, and they have stuff from the early 1900s. They have stuff from the 1950s, and all of it it's called the Spirit Library, and all of it at the Spirit Library. And it's a tasting room also, and we've gotten the privilege to be in there 2 times now, and that was really a cool experience, being able to be in there with the history of bourbon and all those whiskeys that still exist that some people can pull off the shelf and taste. But one of the what would you say, when in 2016, when this concept, Peter Lofton, he was the company founder, and he did this. His vision with his group of people was to set up a distillery that you can contract distill, along with make their own brand. So they started out, and when I was there in 2019, there was a wide open field. When you came in off the Kentucky Bluegrass Highway, you looked off to the side, you saw the distillery. And you saw a rick house. And then there was just this wide open field. We're talking in 3 short years, that field is now a field of rick houses. One right after another they've been building, and their experience that they've been building. And then they're in their 3rd expansion. They haven't been able to keep up with the demand of the contract distillings. And one of the reasons why I've met Steve Nally and Nick Smith, their master distillers, when I've gone down. One of the reasons why I'm still looking to see if anybody wants to make a comment. I'm monitoring the comments. Oh boy, yeah. Whiskey's been commenting on my reading, but I haven't had to read too much. I should take these off at the moment. But the contract distilling has just exploded, and initially people questioned it. They weren't sure if that format or that blueprint was going to work. They weren't sure, but whoever doubted them was wrong. The initial investors, Peter Lofton, started it, and sadly, what happened was that he was on Tuesday, November 19th, 2019. So I was down there September for Kentucky Bourbon Festival, and on Tuesday, November 19th, 2019, he passed away suddenly. It was a stunning thing. Nobody knew what was going to happen because they basically were thrown for a loop to say he was a main partner in what was going on. And I don't think they missed a beat. Not saying I think they did it with him in their hearts, but they basically, from that point on, started just owning contract distilling. And the reason why I know Nick Smith and Steve Nally is because of Greg Schneider. Greg Schneider, everybody knows, is a friend of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. He is also the master distiller of Chicken Cock Whiskey, which he contract distills down at the Bardstown Bourbon Company. Now, down at the Bardstown, Bourbon Company, we were able to, in 2020, he started talking to us, and we were able to meet with him down there and get a tour specifically with Nick Smith, Steve Nally. It was in the March of 2020. Greg met us there. He showed us what he was doing with Chicken Cock. We had Steve and Nick on the podcast. It was great to meet them. Super. We were able to hook back up and talk to Steve the last 2 Kentucky Bourbon Festivals. I've said hi to Nick many different times. They are running a ship that is amazing. I mean, you are talking about right now, one of the ways that a distillery can get off the ground now is they could take their mash bill, they could take everything and all their information and start distilling their distillate while they build their distillery. There's an example right now, Kentucky Owl. They're basically distilling and putting away barrels in the rickhouse, and once they're distillery comes online in their rickhouse, they'll move the barrels into their own rickhouse and their own distillery and start making their own stuff. But in the meantime, most distilleries had no idea what to do in between when they're building the distillery. I mean, it was a money-making loser because you're putting all this money, but you're not producing any of the income. And so a lot of distilleries did a lot of different things, but this contract distilling seemed to be really good. So then, what happened just this past March is the company was able to bring in Pritzker Private Capital and expand their horizon. Pritzker Private Capital partnered and bought Kentucky Bardstown Bourbon Company, and when they did that, that allowed the team to have more backing, and they basically have now gone out, and after that went out and purchased Green River Distillery in Owensboro, Kentucky. Now, Green River was formerly Ozzie Tyler and now is Green River. And when they bought that, Green River, they basically bought more contract distilling ability plus another brand. So it's just amazing, in my opinion, what Bardstown Bourbon Company has been doing from a business standpoint. I know that initially, talking to Greg, when he wanted chicken cock was very successful, and he wanted to up how much of the chicken cock that they were making there at the Bardstown Bourbon Company. They told him, you're 2 years out before you can do that. Well, once they purchased Green River, he's able to do that now. So that is something that has been in the works, and it just keeps getting better and stronger for Bardstown Bourbon Company. But let's get to the actual tasting of the whiskeys and the products. I mean, they have the Origin series, the Fusion series, which we discovered. The Fusion series is that and the Discovery series. Those are their two. They were blending with other bourbons, but now their bourbons are becoming more and more prevalent in this series. Right now, the Discovery series is on 9. I've got 3 here, and the Fusion series is on 8. So both of them, and as they go forward, they just get better and better. I believe I somewhere was looking for, I did a podcast, if you go back on the Bardstown Bourbon, where I compared, I believe the Discovery 3 and 4 to see the difference and taste the difference. Now, I've kept up on tasting because when I go down there every time, I taste the Fusion and the Discovery, and each time, in my opinion, it gets a little bit better. They've got so much to choose from with this series. And then now that's your Fusion and Discovery series that they have, and you can see that. And now I get to actually taste. I'm going to open these 2 tonight. I'm very excited. And these come from, now their Origin series is, Let's see about the Origin series. The Origin series was an exquisite high rye with extraordinary flavor. Origin bourbon whiskey is 36% high rye mash bill, which showcases the best of classic bourbon with a burst of rye spike. Perfect at a unique pour and foundation for a premium cocktail. The notes are blend of apricot, orange blossom, and mint. Rests on caramel, nutmeg, and rich oak. Waves of cinnamon, vanilla lead to bold signature lasting finish. So that their Origin series is their number one bourbon, like that's their small batch type thing, and it's 96 proof and it's $44.99 bottle. So that's not bad at all as far as pricing. Now, when you come to the wheated, now they have a wheated bottled and bond in their Origin series too. But then you got the Fusion, the Discovery, and then you've got the collaboratives. Now, the Chateau de la Boide 2 is their first collaborative series. Well, Their first collaborative series release with the Chateau de la Baude gained legendary status, winning Best in Class for finished bourbons in the San Francisco World Spirit Competition. For the second iteration, a custom bourbon blend accentuates the nuanced flavor from each barrel. Bold Kentucky bourbon balances oak that is bursting with fiery Armagnac. The Tennessee bourbon provides a hint of citrus to complement La Baude's unique floral notes. Half of the, let's see. So the tasting notes are baked pear with nutmeg, cinnamon, and sage. Lays on toffee brown sugar and almond. And then on the palate, vanilla bean, rich oak, golden raisin combined to create an outstanding finish for a refined flavor. I've got that here. I picked this up at Kentucky Bourbon Festival when we were on our bus tour, and we took the tour that Greg Schneider did from Chicken Cock, and we met up with Steve Nally in the gift shop, and he signed my bottle, which I'm excited. I have not tasted this. So here we go. We're going to open this right now. Let's see. Let's let that air a little bit. Then we're going to get that going, and let's open her up. Here we go. Let's do a pour of the Chateau Le Bois 2. What I've come to realize about the yeah. No, I don't want fish on my Mr. Henley. I don't want fish on my. Oh my God. Wow. That is probably one of the more exquisite noses I've ever nosed. I'm not kidding. It's just an explosion of flavor that's just... I could get the cinnamon and the rum, the raisin. It's like rum raisins. Wow. A little bit of, I could get the pear too. Sage, maybe toffee, brown sugar. I'm not getting the toffee or brown sugar, but let's see if I could get that on the tasting. Oh, you can see what that is doing in the glass. That is a delicious bourbon. So what I wanted to say about when we're talking about Bardstown Bourbon Company, this company not only delivers a certain, what would you say, brand atmosphere that is cool and precise, but also there's a certain amount of exquisiteness to their bourbons that not every single distillery is doing. I mean, we're talking about on this particular finished bourbon. So it's finished in Chateau de la Baude Armagnac cask. So this is an Armagnac finish. So what I'm really coming down to is I think I like, out of all the wine finishes, I think Armagnac is by far my favorite. I don't know what it is. I just think it brings out some really, really good flavors that are unique to bourbon. It's not the classic caramels, but let's see what we got now that we shocked my palate at. This is 107 proof, and it is $160 a bottle. Oh, man. That one will be up for my whiskey of the year this year, I think. I think it really, that is some good stuff that Nick and Steve are putting out at the Bardstown Bourbon Company. There's no doubt about it. So let's put that aside. Now we are going to get into this Whiskey Advocate. Out of all the whiskeys in the world, they put this at 15. So, Bardstown Bourbon Company Collaborative Series, Plantation Rum Finished, Barrel Finished. 52%, 104 proof, $160. Panel rating for them gave it a 93. Bardstown Bourbon Company, Bardstown Bourbon Company has proven itself among the most innovative master of blending and finishing with little regard for tradition. This is not as adventurous as some of their experiments, but it is no less successful. This 10-year-old Tennessee bourbon spent 22 months in plantation rum barrels. The result offers savory herb balanced with caramel on the nose, flavor of dark chocolate, roasted coffee, and red fruit before a finish with generous baking spices and leather. I'm excited. So let's get this baby open because I've got my other Glencairn over here. And this one I just picked up recently. It's been on the shelf here in Ohio. You can do it. Once again, $160, $159.99. We'll do the same thing we did with the other one. Oh, so you're going to be a little bit difficult. I thought did I or did I not? Yeah, I did. Holy crap, this cork is in there. All right. So what are we saying here? Yeah. Oh, we got it. Oh, did I break it? No, I broke the seal. All right, here we go. Now this nose wasn't quite the same. We got rid of any kind of settling that might have happened. And here we go. I'm going to put up against these two awesome different, they're both the collaborative series. All right. The Bardstown Bourbon Company's collaborative series is a celebration of kindred spirits. We partner with our favorite producers in wine, beer, and spirits to create exceptional expressions. Our hand-selected premium bourbon is placed into our partners' barrels, then aged in our rickhouses to mature into the finest one-of-a-kind release. Savor the latest addition to this innovative series with our Plantation Rum release. 10-year-old Tennessee bourbon finished for 22 months in a plantation Jamaican rum barrel. There we go. It's made with straight bourbon whiskey distilled in Tennessee, blended and finished in Bardstown. There we go. They are transparent as transparent gets, but let's see what happens with this. Oh, now this is much more Kentucky bourbon right here. This is more like a Kentucky bourbon, there's no doubt. I get that nose and I get a lot of toffee and I get a little bit of coffee. There's not that pear fruitiness on this. Let's see what happens. Now, that's two things. I also like rum finished bourbons. I like rum finish and Armagnac so far. And these both are exactly that's why they're in my possession. All right, that's enough reading. Here we go. Holy shit. Wow. Holy man. It's almost like drinking syrup. Like maple syrup. God, that's good. So I can actually taste cherries, like fresh cherry that you might get, that you buy at the store with the pits. Now the finish would be, in my opinion, they were talking, they mentioned baking spice and leather. Leather is not my favorite finish, and I would have to agree. There's a little bit of bitterness to this finish, but everything else is spectacular. Plus the hug on here, the nose. Folks, these are both special bourbons. There's no doubt about it. I understand why they're priced where they're priced. One of the reasons why you have to price finished bourbon in an Armagnac cask or plantation rum barrels is the barrels that you're purchasing. Now, Alan brings up, I don't know if they were dry or wet, because if you purchase them wet, there's a different finish than if they're dry. And then also, God, they're delicious. Both of them. I love them. I was not expecting, I thought I would like them, but these are two bourbons that I'm glad that I spent the money on. I mean, I will share these with friends, and they're just absolutely delicious. Anyways, I know everybody's been watching tonight. Thank you so much. I'd have to say, I hope I gave you a good kind of history of the Bardstown Bourbon Company, where they are and where they're going and what they've done. I mean, you got to visit them when you're down there in Kentucky. It's a must. Get stop by for lunch. Check it out. In the summertime, they have outdoor seating that's fantastic, just to lounge in. And what's happening there now, I would like to give a shout out to my good friend Jason Sparkman, who is a distiller there. He works, I believe, I want to say he works second or third shift, depending. But Jason showed us around the last time we were in Kentucky at the construction. The construction that's going up, it's just getting bigger and bigger. It's fantastic. They are not stopping. They're great to their employees. So if you get a chance, stop by for a tour, a tasting, an experience. Usually if you're in the gift shop, there's a good chance you're going to see Steve or Nick walking around there. They're there during the week. Say hi. So with that, remember everybody, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. I got to get ready for this part. Thank you so much for watching tonight and listen. And thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We try and do this once or twice. We do it once a week at least, but twice a week also. I want to give special. Let's see. There was something. Oh yes, the one thing that I wanted to bring up. The Scotchy Bourbon Boys. This week on Thursday, we are going to have the same format. Super Nash is going to be on through Zoom. We're going to be live on YouTube, live on Facebook. The Jeffrey Mueller. So if you haven't found me on Facebook, find me and friend me. But we will be monitoring the comments for that particular podcast. I am going to post. Super Nash has put 4 special bottles. And the person who is commenting the most and interacting with us the most will pick the bottle that Super Nash opens and tastes on the podcast. But then we will do a random drawing of the people who commented on our Facebook Live. We're going to do a random drawing, and the winner will get a sample from that bottle, and the next podcast will be able to, or an upcoming podcast, they will be able to be on the podcast with us and taste that particular expression. The expressions, I believe, I have them right here, are, I want to say, let's just go to my, I got to go to my, yes, here we are. Here we go. He's sending me. Okay. I gotta go. All right. Here are the 4 bourbons. It's Van Winkle Special Reserve 12 year. George T. Stagg 116.9 proof. Old Fitzgerald 19 year. And Double Barrel Blend Bourbon Whiskey Parker Heritage. The newest Parker Heritage. One of those 4 bottles, you will ask him to crack, and then we will do the drawing for who is going to sample it with the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Who will sample one of those 4 bourbons with the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. So make sure that you join us coming up this Thursday, me and Super Nash, and we will be having that podcast with the comments. So anybody commenting, the best comment will get to choose, but then we'll do a random drawing of everybody who commented. So, and you get a sample of one of those 4 great bourbons that he opens, one of those 4 great bourbons. So, check that out. Remember, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We love you guys. We love everybody watching and everybody, helping us out and supporting us. It's been a really good ride. Here's to a great 2023. Remember, everybody, we are www.scotchybourbonboys.com, and we are, check us out for our merchandise for that, and then also support us on Patreon. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. How do I forget TikTok? And then also on all major podcast formats. Remember, like, listen, comment, and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it on all the major podcast formats. Remember to leave some feedback about us, because that helps us out immensely. But everybody, remember, good bourbon equals good times, good friends, and go out there and live your life dangerously. Good night, everybody. This is Little Steve-O taking us out. Here we go.
Oh, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you, I tell you, I tell you we must die.
All right, we're off there. I'm going to quick do what I do each and every time. We'll turn off that. And I'm going to save. If you make sure you save each time. Mm-hmm. There we go. Oh, really? Why didn't that work? Oh, it always helps to actually type on the right keyboard. You just watched that live. All right. We are building that episode. I could take that off. So everybody, thank you for watching on YouTube. I'm going to stop streaming right now. We greatly appreciate everything that happens. And until next podcast or live stream, remember, good bourbon equals good times, good friends, and go out there and live your life dangerously. All right. You'll see my...